Hello, class. For today, we're going to be moving on to a different topic altogether. It's called combination and permutations. If we have been talking about how to deal with probability for the past 2 weeks, now what we're going to be dealing with is it is still going to be part of that. However, it's more so dealing with um, how to rearranging things. So the major component of today it would be to how to rearrange or how to arrange, how to get in a group, how many ways in which something could happen. So most likely you are going to tell me a number, not a probability, not a decimal, not a fraction, but a number. It will be really useful if you have a TI-84 calculator in front of you, or anything sort of that in those regards. Any calculator, if we had the TI-30, those calculators that we use back at Teaks that I specifically bought for you, they all have these component called NCR and PR for combination and permutation, and those are how usually find the answers to it really quickly. But first, I need to go over what the major difference between these two are. Okay, so first, let's try looking at this question. So, Gabriella is making a playlist with her 3 favorite songs. How many possible orders are there for the songs? So, let's say that Gabriella is making a playlist with her 3 favorite songs, A, B, and C. There are 3 songs, A, B, and C. How many possible orders are there? So, because we're talking about orders, if we're about to list them, if I put the song A first, okay, and then B second and C third, that's one way in which I can arrange for that specific order of the songs in the playlist. What about if I were to replace the last two from B to C to from C to B? Well, that's another way I can rearrange them, right? 3, I could arrange B to be first and then A, C, then B to be first, and then switch the order of the last two to CA. The last one will be to put C first and then say AB, and then C, B, A. Trust me when I say this, that there's going to be no other ways in which I can rearrange these 3 songs in those, in 3 spaces when the order matters. Okay, so there are a total of 6 different ways. Okay. Now, the way that we can also figure this out is, I always try to do these types of questions when order matters. I draw 3 spots, okay, because I have 3 spaces to make that playlist, and I can have total of 3 options for the first song, right? I can have A, B, and C. But how many spaces do I have for the second one? Well, because I have already used up, it's not like it's replaced or anything. I'm not going to put a same song on the playlist twice. So there's only 2 options to choose from, like for example, BC. And there's only 1 option to choose from after that. So what actually ends up happening is that it's 3, 2, and 1 ways in which I can rearrange the playlist. And what you're going to do with these numbers is you're always going to multiply them. So what is 3 times 2 times 1? It's 6. So that's how I can get these 6 playlists in the order. Whenever I'm asked a question, how can I rearrange 3 songs in 3 different spots when the order matters? B says, Gabriella wants to make another playlist with 5 of her favorite artists' 8 most popular songs. So we have 8 songs to choose from. And there are 5 spaces. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to draw, just like how I've done for this type of question, 2, 3, 4, 5 different spots. Okay, now I have 8 songs, which means the very first song I can choose from, there's going to be a total of 8. Now for the second one, how many do I have left? I have 7, right? 6, 5, 4, you get the idea. Now, if you were to just do all of this together, you're going to multiply them just like how I have done here. So what's 8 times 7? times 6 times 5 times 4, it's going to give me 6,720 different ways. Now, obviously, I will not be able to write all of those down so that you can see them visually how that's going to be, because it's going to be crazy, right? I have from A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and I have to literally write them down 6,720 different ways. Well, that's not simply happening. But believe me, that's how many ways in which I can rearrange them when the order matters. Again, I cannot emphasize this enough. The order matters for these different questions. Pause the video and see if you can do this. So we're going to be just talking about permutations for today. How many different possibilities are there for each playlist when we're talking about Gabriella's 4 favorite songs and 5 of the 10 most popular songs? Okay, so for these types of questions, we are going to use the example that we're given here. So Gabriel's 4 favorite songs means I have 4 spots, and I have 4, 3, 2, 1 songs to choose from, so the answer should be 24 ways in which I can rearrange the playlist. 5 of the 10 most popular songs, which means I'm going to pick 5 of the 10, so 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, and that should turn out to be 30,240 ways. Okay. Now, these types of questions are called permutation questions. A permutation is when order matters. So, a permutation is an arrangement. It's when some of the objects are set in a specific order. In other words, order matters. And I hope you realize in the very beginning, we're talking about combination and permutation. Combination is when order does not matter, and we'll talk about that later on. And permutation is when order matters. Okay, so when you're doing these questions, this is the formula that I would like you to remember. NPR, n factorial over n minus r factorial. Now, what is this hieroglyphs, you might be asking? But it's very, very simple. Think about the question we've been doing for part B in the example question. Gabrielle wants to make another playlist with 5 of her favorite 8 most popular songs. Now, N is the items arranged in the R items. So N is all of them, and R is the how many you're choosing out of. If we have 8 songs to choose from, okay, as this question, 8 songs to choose from, 5 spaces that we're going, 5 are the songs that we're going to be choosing, and 8 is the total amount in the songs that I can choose from. So the formula would be 8P5. So we say 8 choose 5, permutation. And then when we plug this into the formula here, we have n factorial. Now, factorial, we have done this before. It's not an exclamation point. If we say 4 factorial, it means all the numbers from 4 to 1, we're going to multiply them. So 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. 8 factorial would mean 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. That's what factorial means. You're going to multiply all the numbers from the number designated all the way down to 1, and by counting down to 1. So if we're plugging that into the formula here where n is here and n minus r is here, so that would mean that it would be 8 factorial over 8 minus 5 factorial. So 8 factorial would mean 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2. And then I'm just going to move this slightly a bit above here. 2 times 1 over, this would be 3 factorial, would be 3 times 2 times 1. Notice how a lot of these things would cancel each other out. And you will be only left with 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. And that would be 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4. Just like how I would have made the 5 spaces here. And that's how it worked out. And so that was the answer to the first question. Remember this question, 5 of the 10 most popular songs, it will be 10p5. That will be 10 factorial over 10 minus 5 factorial. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 over 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, because that's 5 factorial. Notice how all of these cancels out and you're only left with this. So you can just do that. Honestly, I don't really follow the formula when I'm doing permutations. I just draw blanks and I just multiply them. Or if there's a button here where they say NPR, usually TI-84 Texas Instrument Calculators has this, you can just simply type in 8P5. For those of you who have TI-84s at home, you can type that in and it will literally just pop out for you the answer, which for this one was, how much was it? It was 6,720. It will just give you that right away. But of course, if you don't have the necessary tools to have that input, then you just have to draw the blanks and solve it out like I did and just multiply those numbers. Today you'll only be doing permutations questions like these, and that's going to be it for today. Tomorrow and later down on Thursday, we'll be talking about combinations a little bit more. Thank you and have a good day.